Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Replit Town Hall. I'm so excited to see some folks already active in the chat. Love to see it. If you're tuning in from a place that is the place you are in, would love to hear about where you are in the world. I also asked this before, but I'm curious what people are most excited to hear about today. If you're not sure what we're going to talk about today, I'll give you the whole rundown in just a second. So to start, I just want to welcome all of you. Thank you for being here for our first town hall in a little while. We'll hopefully get back to doing these every month so you can stay up to date on all of our cool features. You can share your feedback along the way as we work on things, and you can continue getting really, really insightful behind the scenes on work in progress. Now, I will be joined by a number of people from the Replit team as well as the browser company team today. So I'm not going to introduce them all right away, but today you can look forward to hearing about mobile, the mobile app if you haven't tried it yet. It's on iOS and Android. Download it. Lima and Connor will be talking about that. We've got folks talking about the very exciting Ghostwriter release. We've got people talking about bounties, way to earn cycles on Replit, and also pay people to create cool things on Replit. You'll learn more about that from Soren. We have Sergey talking about themes. Tyler and Moody will talk about all of those nice workspace updates that you've probably been enjoying recently. And then we have a very special treat. We have a couple folks from the browser company joining us today to talk about a cool collaboration we've been working on them with for the Arc browser. And there's a special treat at the end, so make sure that you stay tuned for a treat. It's after Halloween, but I'm going to keep saying it. There's actually two very exciting things to look forward to at the end, so make sure that you're staying the whole time. Or if you want to cheat, come back at the end, but you're going to miss out on all the good stuff too. And let's go ahead and get started. So first up, I'm going to bring Lima and Connor to the stage. Both of them worked on the amazing mobile app and are going to tell you a bit more about it.
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Lima Tasman, and I lead the mobile engineering team at Replit, the team that's responsible for the Replit mobile app that launched just a little over 2 weeks ago. And then I have Connor here with me.
Yeah, and my name's Connor. I work in marketing and did a lot of the marketing for the mobile app. So any of the engineering work you can give over to Lima and all the engineers, but I did the marketing for it.
If you haven't seen the launch video, it has a lot of really cool shots. So feel free to ask Connor how we did some of those. So let me just present a little bit. Can you all see that? I'm gonna assume you can. Well, the Replit mobile app is a long time coming. You have all been asking for it, and we're really, really grateful and honored for all the positive feedback and the stories you're sharing about it. But building a native app, especially as powerful as the Replit platform, let alone for two operating systems. Yep.
I think we can only see clicks to exit full screen. I don't know if the chat is seeing that as well.
Ah, okay. All right, I'll leave it like this.
Okay.
We can all see that, right? So building the Replit native app is really, really a tough challenge. And we were so excited to launch, but there's so many things that we wanted to get to that we couldn't on our list. And so I want to share some of the kind of the focus and the vision for the app at launch and some of the stuff that we're working on in the short term. A fun fact about the mobile app is we internally refer to it as bonsai. And the reason for that is, like bonsai trees, it's sort of this slow growing, very beautiful and polished creation. And that's how we're approaching the app. We want it to be really, really polished. We want to be very deliberate in the stuff that we're adding to it. And ultimately, we want to provide the best experience for you. Some of you might not know this, but the engineering team is only 4 engineers, if you count myself. So that's why we have to be really focused. Our focus right now is on making the best possible creation experience on mobile. We want to enable everyone anywhere to build and launch real projects from your phone. But ultimately, what we really hope to accomplish with everyone is to kind of reclaim the smartphone and turn it back into a creation device, a personal computing experience that everyone in the world can be creating casually things for themselves. And we hope to create the next personal computing shift through this. So we've been listening to all the feedback you've been sending us, and there's a number of things that we're prioritizing thanks to the stuff that you're sharing. So I want to point you to this REPL where I've asked you for some feedback on a few key areas. So we've heard by popular demand that a lot of you want tablet support. And again, this is yet another platform that we're going to support, but we really, really want to do a good job at it. So please leave some feedback for us. What do you expect for the tablet users out there? What would help you code on Replit on the tablet? The second thing that we're really excited about bringing in the short term is Teams on mobile. So for those of you who are using Teams right now, it's not so easy to access those Teams and those REPLs. We're working on that. Let us know where would be the most convenient place for you to access those Teams and REPLs. And last but not least, we're also going to make it really easy to share and open REPLs through the app. We also call this deep linking. And so if you if you're sharing your REPLs with friends, you're sharing it on social media, tell us how you'd like to do that. What platforms do you share to? And how do you want people to consume those REPLs when they open it in the app? What kinds of information do you want people to get out of it? And again, we really want to create an environment where people are creating, they're remixing, forking, riffing on each other's REPLs, and just creating a beautiful creative ecosystem on your phone. All right. Are there any quick questions for me, Lena, that I can answer before I?
I see Hugo has a question. Hugo, if you put that in the chat real quick, we can get to it. Otherwise, other folks who have questions throughout these talks, they can put them in the chat. We are all also in the chat and can respond to them there. Or if we have time at the end, we can respond.
Awesome. All right. And last but not least, Connor has.
Yeah, so I've had 2 things. So one, Lena mentioned at the beginning, but we're going to be doing a quick little contest Easter egg at the end. So you're going to want to share, if you want motivation to stay for the full live stream, at the end, we're going to have a little Easter egg hunt and then a prize. And the second thing, since I'm the marketer, if you guys like the app and you would love to leave a review, on the App Store or the Google Play Store, we'd really appreciate it. That's how mainly if people are searching for coding on mobile, that's how mainly people find us. And so if you haven't left a review yet and you're a fan of the app or anything like that, please go ahead and leave us a review. I feel okay asking for that since I'm the marketer. I hope it feels more normal than the engineers asking that.
And we, again, if you have feedback, shake the app when you have it open. The feedback form will come up. And if you have any bugs that you run into, it's really helpful when you share screenshots so that we can really dig into it, and share your contact information so we can get back to you and make sure that any issues you have are resolved.
Thank you so much, Lima and Connor. This is so exciting. There's already some messages in the chat if you want to respond to them via text. Otherwise, I am going to bring up Jeff and Giuseppe to talk a bit about Ghostwriter. All right.
Awesome. Thanks. So I'm Jeff. Nice to meet everyone. I did the marketing and go-to-market around Ghostwriter.
And I'm Giuseppe. I'm the lead engineer on the project at this point and have kind of taken over all the AI functionality in Replit.
Yeah, so hopefully everyone saw it, but basically this week, to celebrate Halloween, we made Ghostwriter public to general audience to be purchased. So if you recall, about a month or two ago, we made a big announcement on the beta of Ghostwriter. And as of this week, anybody can go in and purchase and activate it on Replit. And so for a little bit of background before eventually Giuseppe actually shows you Ghostwriter, Ghostwriter is basically our suite of AI tools. So there's actually 4 in there. There's Complete, Generate, Transform, and Explain. And if you're a Hacker customer, you've probably already seen Explain, Generate, and Transform. That's included in Hacker. It will continue to be included in Hacker. But the big difference with what we announced this week is now Complete Code, which is very similar to maybe autocomplete if you've seen on email or something like that, but while you're coding. It's pretty exciting. I think we'll continue to fine tune and build out the stuff we do in AI. I think Complete Code, the way we view it, and if you haven't seen the website or the video, I recommend going to check it out. But we fundamentally just think not only does it make you better at coding, but it actually makes it a lot more fun. It really feels like you're pair programming with somebody and you're not necessarily coding alone. So rather than me just tell you about it, we have Giuseppe up here. He's the brains actually behind building this, as well as many other on our team, and he can actually show you what it looks like in action.
Cool. Lena, can you turn on my screen share? Excellent. So I'm going to walk through some fairly contrived demonstrations of the various AI features here. And I think before I do that, it's kind of important to indicate that like a lot of the value you get from, say, the completion functionality is it's more incremental while you're actually working on something. So the suggestions, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, but when they're good, they augment what you're already doing. So these contrived examples are going to be, they're going to show off the functionality, but they're not going to capture quite the essence of where complete is really powerful. So I'm a stats guy, so you're going to watch me implement a bit of a little stats library here. And oh, look, we got a mean. That was easy. Oh yeah, maybe we want median as well. Cool, we'll keep going. Yeah, that was pretty easy. Maybe we want to calculate a standard deviation as well. So you see here, I'm just getting these suggestions and actually just accepting them all. They're all correct. Looks great. So we now have a library that computes the mean, the median, or the standard deviation of an array. But if you look at it, you notice it's got var and it's got some, anonymous functions that aren't arrow functions, and it's just like it's not particularly modern JavaScript. So we're gonna select it all, click transform code, and say, sorry, somebody in the chat says they can't see it. All right, looks like it's resolved. So we're going to click transform code and we're going to say convert to modern JS. Oh, well, wait a second. Ghostwriter needs to think. Hey, look, we got anonymous arrow functions, const instead of var and let. This looks really good. We're click replace suggestion. Now we have our entire library in simple, modern JavaScript. So I'm going to undo that. We're going to go back to the original kind of older JavaScript here, and I'm going to copy it into a new file called stats.ts, a TypeScript file instead. And while we're there, let's transform again. Because we had written JavaScript, but we want types, and we want it to be more modern. So we're going to say add types and modernize. And we get typed JavaScript here. We get the const upgrades. We get the arrow functions. Everything looks good. So we'll just click replace for that. Let's take, what function did I want here? We're going to take the original standard deviation function, and let's bring it into a file called stats.py. So we went from JavaScript to TypeScript. Now we're going to go to Python. Transform, and this time, we've got JavaScript in a Python file right now. That doesn't make a lot of sense. So let's just say convert this to Python. And looking at that, that looks correct. Yeah, it looks correct. We converted our standard deviation function to Python. So these are pretty simple examples. Let's do something maybe a little bit more practical. I mean, you probably already have a library if you want to do statistics. So let's make a file called emails.ts. Let's actually call it email.ts, just because that's what my template over here says to do. And in it, let's write a isValidEmail function. Well, validating an email is actually a pretty complicated task. We got this pretty aggressive looking regular expression. Actually, let's step that back. There we go. Now we got the full regular expression. And so now what we have is this disgusting regular expression that nobody could possibly understand that validates an email. If we look in here, we can grab, say, a piece of it, so the piece after the @ sign, and click explain code, see what happens. This code is for validating an email address. Well, I mean, that explains what it does. So checking an email address for its validity is a pretty complicated problem. Let's move on to a file called zip.ts. And in it, let's write a function called isValidZipCode. And so let's say that I thought I knew how I wanted to do something here, and I was going to say, give me a regular expression. So here we get a regular expression that validates a zip code. And I can click explain on this to understand what it does. Well, it tells me it validates a zip code. That's good. But zip codes actually have a checksum in them. So let's step back and let's just see what complete code had to say. See that chat. Funny story, I'm actually Canadian. So what happened here is my initial implementation checked to see if it was 5 digits, which was like I mean, that's a fine way of validating a zip code. But Ghostwriter taught me that, in fact, there's actually a checksum that validates that a zip code is potentially valid. Format postcodes. Yeah, okay, so we got some cool stuff here. We could explain this, probably get an explanation that says it validates a zip code. And it actually explains exactly what it did. That's a good explanation. So that's the end of my demo. I could go on and do a little bit more stuff, but Lena, do we have any questions?
I saw a little bit of feedback in the chat, but I want to keep this train rolling. So I will share a place for you to share your feedback on Ghostwriter in the chat. And we are going to move on to Bounties with what seems like everyone's favorite person here, and I might be a little jealous, the amazing Soren.
Hi, everyone. If you haven't met me before, my name is Soren, and I am a product manager at Replit. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about Bounties and the Bounty Hunter program. Bounties are the easiest way to get paid to build things on Replit. You can think about it kind of like a Replit native freelancing product. Replit will connect you with someone, facilitate the cycles transactions, and also host the REPL when the work is done. And next Monday, we'll be releasing Bounties to explorers. So I'm going to do a quick demo of the main surfaces. I think doing a demo is going to be the best way to really showcase how they work and what they look like. But my main call out is that the Bounties page I'm going to show you here is not yet final, and we're still doing a lot of polishing this week. So just keep that in mind as I share my screen. So just give me 1 sec. All right, Lena, I think I'm sharing if you want to. There we go. Cool. So starting next Monday, if you're an explorer, you'll notice that the Bounties tab now exists in the left sidebar. And if you click on it, you'll see the Bounties homepage. At core, this is where you view open bounties, bounties you're working on, and bounties you've posted. On this page, there's some basic functionality like filtering, searching. So if you just wanted to look at Python bounties, you could do that. And there's also some filtering mechanics here, or sorry, sorting mechanics. So if you wanted to sort by a number of cycles, you could do that. So let's click on one of these bounty listings. We'll look at the stock data visualization one. On this page, you can see some information about who posted the bounty, so you can actually get to their profile if you want. You can see when they posted it and when they'd like it to be due. There's also a description here that says what they're looking for, as well as what they'd like the deliverable to have. The next tab here, or you'll notice that there's also an applications tab. This is where you can actually see who's applied for the bounty. So it'll show you who applied and the links that are on their profile. If you wanted to apply for a bounty, you would click apply here, and you would explain why you're the best candidate to work on the bounty. And in this case, you'd add your email, but it's actually up to the poster. They may ask for your Discord username. Once you click send application, the bounty poster will get an email and a notification saying that you've applied. And if they choose to accept you, you will unlock the discussion tab. The discussion tab serves two purposes. It is used to exchange contact information so that you can get in contact with the other person. And also that's actually where you submit the REPL that has the work for the bounty. So that is, that's like the core of the demo. I'm gonna leave the bounties page up just so we can look at it. I have a few other things I want to go over. So I wanna talk a little bit about some of our motives for wanting to work on bounties. So midway through this year, we started actively working on this one strategy that we call marketplaces. And our goal with marketplaces is to build services and tools that enable our top creators to earn. And Bounties is the first project to come out of this. Other potential things we could build include a Replit app store, paywalled hosted REPLs, creator subscriptions, tipping, and other monetization products. I also want to mention we're not entirely sure what the most effective earning mechanisms will look like on Replit yet. But the primary goal is that we build things that enable people to earn a real living for themselves. At some point in the future, people should be able to quit their jobs and go full-time on Replit because that's where they're earning more money via hosting their apps and taking on bounties and all these other things I mentioned. The one call out here is that cash out will not be available next Monday when we launch Bounties. That's going to be something we keep working on this year. And cash out is just the process of converting your cycles into USD or the currency of your home country. But you'll still be able to use the cycles for anything on Replit. The other thing I want to briefly go over is the Bounty Hunter program. So not everybody will be able to apply and work on bounties. You'll first have to submit an application for the special Bounty Hunter role that will show up on your profile. The reason we're doing this is so the experience for both parties in the bounties marketplace is really good. If you're considering applying to take on bounties, you should include these sorts of things in your applications or in your application. So like 1, if you've been paid to build any sort of software before. 2, if you've built an app or a game that's gone viral or has a lot of users. 3, if you've built something that has made you money before. So whether it's something to do with ads or a stock or a crypto trading bot. And 4, if you've worked on any meaningful open source projects or have any open source contributions. So these are the sorts of things that we want to hear about and we'll be screening for as we go through the Bounty Hunter applications. That is all from me. I will pass it back to Lena. And I think if there's any questions, Lena, let me know. Or I think there's a Q&A at the end. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's all. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Soren. Yeah, feel free to add any of your questions in the chat. Like I said, a lot of us are already in the chat. We also have feedback documents for a lot of the features that we're talking about. So you can always add your feedback in there. Find the links in the chat. Everything in the chat, including Soren. All right, so next up, something that I'm super excited about. I know everyone here, I'm pretty sure everyone, at least I'm seeing in the chat, is super excited about. Sergey will be talking to us about themes.
Hey, everyone. Thanks so much for the introduction, Lena. My name is Sergey. I'm an engineer here at Replit. And I'm really excited to show off something that we've been working on for a while now. Something that I think a lot of people are really excited about as well. It is one of our most requested features, if not our most requested feature. So I'm going to go ahead and that's themes. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And then we can get into how it's going to look. All right. So as you can see here from my browser tab, we see Replit, except it looks a little different than you might be used to. It's this nice little deep purple shade. So that's going to be pretty sweet. Now let's see how I went about creating this. So I'm going to show, for context, I'm going to show a very kind of a rough version of this flow. It's still not quite ready, so there are lots of things that might be subject to change. But we're going to go ahead here into our lovely little themes editor. Like I said, this is not the final version, but this is kind of where we're at so far. And you can see here this little drop down has a bunch of different themes of mine. The first thing that kind of might stick out is, you know, this ability to give your theme a name, give it a description of some sort, live preview it. We'll see what that looks like in a sec. And then this toggle for light or dark mode. These different, this is the part that is possibly most relevant, is the different kind of tokens that we're going to allow you to customize and build your theme. And then we'll get into this in a bit, but different kind of a different section here for syntax hiding as well, which is why we have this little editor. So jumping around here, I have a few themes that I built recently that I can kind of switch between. You can see there, some of them are pretty kind of drastic, but you know, once this is out, you can kind of go crazy. Like you can really make Replit yours, which is going to be really exciting. So sticking with, let's see, another theme of mine. A few things you might notice. First of all, we have this like little live preview toggle, which will let you either preview the theme live or just be able to change things without too much noise at once. And then going into kind of the actual editing experience, I'm not sure if you guys see the input here, but basically you can go and change the color and, you know, make that whatever you want. You can see we have some warnings here. If the contrast is too high or it's not very readable. You can also just change this to some other, I don't know why that's not working. Oh yeah, here we go. It's a little, so you can use like any CSS property you'd like, or sorry, like variant. So whether that's hex or just the standard colors. So we support lots of different formats. Yeah, so let's see here. Let's give it something a little more readable. Yeah, you can then toggle between like whether the theme is considered light or dark mode as well. So that's going to be neat. Lastly, like getting into the syntax hiding bit, you can see like we have this little editor. We're going to have a drop down full of a ton of different languages so that you can kind of preview what it's going to look like live. But we can stick with JavaScript for now. You can see that you can basically come in here. First of all, let me I'll stick to this for now. You can see you can change the different variable names here. So maybe I want my variable names to be yellow or blue. Blue looks good. And then there's different kind of subdivisions of that. So there's definition, function. We want to make this like as intuitive as possible, but also make it kind of really powerful too. So you can see here specifically, I'm changing like variable definitions rather than just any variable. You can go in, you can change comments. I don't have any comments here, but you can see I can kind of write in here, and then I can make comments, you know, any other color. Here, maybe yeah, so some other color like this, blue. So that's nice to see. And you can see here, like we can just save and apply this theme. And at some point, this is also not done, but we're going to allow you to publish the theme as well to the community so that other people can download it, share it, and use it. So that's going to be really exciting. This is just how it might look in the editor. You can see this is the previous theme that I had. If I refresh, now that I've applied the theme I was working on, you can see that we see that reflected in the IDE. So this is going to be really exciting. now the tokens look just like I had them in the preview editor, and the colors are reflected as well. I'll go back to the home page again, refresh, and everything looks like it was when I saved it. So yeah, that's how the that's custom themes. That's how the create flow looks like right now. Like I said, this is going to change quite a bit in the coming weeks, but we're excited to share that we're going to announce this, or excuse me, release this to explorers really soon. So by early next week, you should be able to create a theme yourself. The publishing and sharing flow isn't quite done yet, so that'll be some time. But if you're an explorer, you should be able to create themes starting from next week, which is super exciting. And we personally are very excited to see what you make and come up with. So yeah, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Sergey. Quickly, what is your favorite theme for your Replit workspace?
My favorite theme. Oh man.
Vibes.
We've seen some cool ones internally. We've seen some strawberry looking themes, some really like deep green looking themes, like foresty. So yeah, those are pretty neat.
All right. Awesome. If you've got a favorite color scheme, drop it in the chat. Thanks, Sergey. Okay. Awesome. So we've covered a lot so far. We've talked about mobile, Ghostwriter, Bounties, themes, and the next section is going to be Tyler and Moody talking about Workspace. If you all haven't noticed the changes to Workspace in the past couple of months, I don't know where you've been, but you've got to log in and just try them out. So open up those Replit workspaces, open up a REPL, and follow along with Tyler and Moody. Try things out.
Yo, hello everybody. If this is your first town hall and you don't know who I am, I'm Tyler. I'm one of the designers at Replit, and I focus evidently on the workspace. This is my partner in crime, Moody. If you want to introduce yourself.
Hey, yeah, Moody. I've been mostly focused on workspace layout, engineering, and design with Tyler for almost a year, feels like.
Yeah, basically since February. Yeah, a lot of these projects have been a long time coming. So today is actually the release of the first part of a big rollout. So without further ado, I'll go in and explain the new workspace and what the deal with it is. One sec. All right. So drum roll. Wait, can people see? Anticlimactic. This is the old workspace. So I just want to show people kind of what is currently available to most people. So if you're an explorer, you'll get the newer workspace. Right now, the new workspace is released to about 10% of people. But I kind of want to go over some of the problems with the old workspace as to why we ended up making a lot of these design changes. So at a surface level, there are lots of things that you can critique in the user interface. Some immediate ones that stand out are, what do these symbols mean when you look at them? Only when you hover can you see the actual names of them. So, discoverability and explainability was a big issue. The other thing, when you start clicking through these, is that it's really cramped. We basically built all these little tools, these little apps that have to fit into this sidebar. Meanwhile, the rest of the workspace gets, a lot of room, a lot of real estate. You can resize panes and files however you want, but the sidebar didn't get as much love there. And it's very hard to design proper tools that fit into this kind of constrained space. One of the other issues is that internally within Replit, we kept making one-off changes, basically based on what kind of user was using the workspace, and we kept customizing what tools would show up in this bar. So because of that, it ends up in a lot of complicated code on our end. It's difficult to figure out exactly what people are seeing, depending on who they are and what their account says. And it also means it makes it really hard to make decisions about what tools to actually include. One of the other side effects of this control panel and the restrictions of the sidebar, which is perhaps the biggest problem that we wanted to solve, is that it assumes you only want to look at one of these things at once. So it assumes that if you want to open up packages and install something, that's the only thing you want to look at. If you want to open up secrets, that's the only thing. These are all essentially mutually exclusive, right? Because it uses a sort of tab-based system, but it's restricted to the sidebar. So a lot of these issues might not be obvious to people when they're actually using the tool because it gets the job done, but it was really holding us back. So the end goal was to create a new system that basically accomplishes three things: have multiple tools open at the same time, be able to give more room on the screen to these tools so that we can design them basically like full apps, and make it easy for people to actually customize the workspace. So with that, I will move over to the new workspace. Wow, what a difference. So obviously there are a bunch of very big visual changes, namely colors. But the main thing that I want to focus on today is the sidebar. So the biggest kind of architectural change, the foundational change to the workspace here is that we have the sidebar now. And the old concept of having these tools that were mutually exclusive and restricted to the sidebar is now gone. Basically, these two sections, aka files and doc, are used as sort of a navigation tool. So when I click on different files, they open up in tabs and panes. And then also when I click on tools in the doc, they also open up in tabs and panes. So if you want chat over here, you can just move it and you have chat. You can make it full screen. If you want threads, you can do the same thing. If you want packager, you can also have that. The point here is that the entire workspace is now extremely customizable, and it lets us, importantly, it lets us make full use of all of the benefits we get from tabs and panes, but applies it to the previous tools that you're already used to. So this might come as like a surprise to people who are used to the old way of working, but hopefully you find this useful in your day-to-day. The other benefits that come along with this, as you know, when you open up a new tab, you can search, right? So if I have packager closed and I just search for packager in a new tab, I can open it directly there. All tools are discoverable from the new tab. They're discoverable from the search bar. And in a way, it kind of actually reflects how browsers work, where you might have bookmarks for tabs that you want to get back to. Tabs themselves are very generic, and you can open up whatever tool you want inside of them. And it's ultimately very flexible for the end user. 1 second, I'm just looking at my notes. The other big thing about this is that it lays down the foundation for a lot of future features, especially around extensions. So right now, the doc is not customizable, and end users can't customize it or reorder it. So it still has a static layout that is prescribed on our side. But once we have extensions and once we open up the flexibility a little bit more, the doc here will be a lot more like an operating system doc, where you can add whatever you want in here. Maybe you can actually pin conversations or people. Maybe you can put favorite files into here. A lot of these things are up for discussion and debate right now. But the main point is that this is kind of the third and last phase in the big workspace design migration, where we went from a very static and rigid workspace that we kind of just had to design up front to moving towards a workspace that ultimately is that can adapt to users rather than users adapting to the workspace itself. The other two phases I'm referring to, if you go to the blog, are tabs. So we can link to this in the comments. So we started off with tabs, being able to open up multiple tools. Then we released splits, and then finally the last phase was the sidebar and removing and turning all of the previous sidebar items into tabs that could be opened. How am I on time? A little bit. Okay.
Take another minute.
Okay, cool. Yeah, one thing I also just wanted to show is that this kind of sidebar navigation pattern obviously is very common. You can see it in Arc here. You can see it in YouTube on their sidebar. You can see it in Reddit. We wanted to sort of mirror standards for like how people perceive navigation across websites. And also just to give a little bit of insider insight, when we say we've been working on this for a year, these are all of these different Figma files and Figma pages that we used when we were prototyping and thinking through all of these problems. Everything from tabs to splits to little micro interactions in the UI. This was just a lot of back and forth between Moody and I and other people. And this was really a huge group effort. Moody and I were working on it pretty consistently with each other over the past 2 months, but this was the result of a lot of debate and careful prototyping. So we hope you like it.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tyler and Moody. There's so much to be excited about here. I know you are constantly iterating. So I shared the feedback link in the chat for anyone who has suggestions or things that they might want to see in the workspace as we keep moving. I know Tyler and Moody put a lot of thought, creativity, and innovation into this. Some things work, some things we got to test. And so who knows what the future will hold, but I am already loving working in this workspace. Thank you guys so much. I'll move you to the backstage to get you off screen. And next, I am super, super excited to bring a couple folks to the stage from the Browser Company. If you're not familiar with it, you will learn about it and you will be mind blown. We've also already seen some sneak peeks of their amazing product arc in some of these demos. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up Just Dave and Nash to the stage.
Hello. I am not sure why I am so close on the camera, so I'm going to move back so you can see my head. But super excited to be here today. I'm Nash. I lead our storytelling team at the Browser Company. And thank you, Tyler, for that wonderful demo in Arc. For those who aren't familiar, our browser Arc is, we hope, a better way to use the internet. And there are two main things that we believe. One is that your browser should feel like 2022 instead of 1990. And Replit is an example of like a very comprehensive app, which is browser-based, and so much of our lives are browser-based today. And then the second is that we wanted to peel back a lot of the clutter, distractions, parts of the internet that weren't made for you, and give you room to be more calm and control and fun on the internet. So we're big fans of the Replit community. Just Dave built out this awesome collaboration, which he'll share in Arc in just a second. But as Lena had mentioned, we wanted to also open access for folks that are on the call today in the Replit community. And so Lena will be dropping a link. All feedback is great feedback. We love Replit and what they're building. And so we love you by extension. So please do let us know what you think about Arc as you give it a try. And Just Dave, over to you.
Cool. Hey, everyone. So yeah, like Nash mentioned, we have a really cool integration we wanted to show y'all between Arc and Repl. So some context on how it happened is I actually saw a back and forth on Twitter between our CEO, Josh, and Soren, who spoke earlier. And it turns out that there's a permalink to create new REPLs. So we figured, why not wire that up to our command bar? And within a few minutes of seeing that Twitter conversation, we were able to get integration going in Arc and then ship later that week. So yeah, without further ado, let me go ahead and show you all how it works. I'll present my screen real quick. And then, cool. So I'm assuming this is going right now. But yeah, for those who are not familiar, this is Arc. So I'm in my personal space right now. So I'll go ahead and switch over to my workspace. And the way the integration works is through our command bar. And the command bar is kind of the easiest way to navigate things that you care about most on the internet. And as I mentioned with the REPL integration, you access it via the command bar. So you can go ahead and do Command T, and you can do new REPL, and there will be a new REPL action here. And hit enter there. You'll be spun up to kind of create a new REPL from scratch. And I can Swift here, demo, hit enter, and boom, I'm right off to the races. So yeah, we figured this is a really fun way to create REPLs really quickly, and should hopefully help y'all spin up ones on the go.
Cool. Cool. And so one thing that I will say also is we're always looking for deeper integrations. 30% of our members today are actually all developers. And so this is like the first of many integrations that we're looking forward to doing with Replit and bringing your internet closer to you. And then I see a question in the chat on Windows. We actually have a video that we will be sharing tomorrow morning on our Windows strategy and how we're building Arc for Windows. So for the curious folks, please do stay tuned. They'll be coming soon. And I see, sorry, I'm looking at the chat at the same time. I see CERN has also mentioned Replit and Boost integrations. We're excited to do some partnership there. Boosts are a way of building Chrome extensions in like less than 10 seconds and being able to share them with people without having to go through the Chrome store. So just inject CSS or JavaScript into any website. And so that's one thing that has had a lot of exploration across the Arc community, and we're excited to do a little bit more with Replit and with REPLs there too.
Thank you both so much for being here, and thanks for thinking of us as you were building out extensions and shortcuts into Arc. As you can see, our team loves using it, and this will make our lives so much easier. We're going to use this a lot, but boosts are also super exciting since Replit's such a great place to share code. So I've shared your Twitter in the chat. Folks, you should definitely follow along. If that screen share wasn't enough for you, you want to actually try out Arc. Nash, why don't you tell them?
Yeah, absolutely. So as mentioned, we typically have a wait list, which as we're coming out of beta sometime early next year, we're excited to get more folks on board. But we created a link for the Replit community, which will be open for the next 24 hours. And so anyone who signs up with that link, which Lena has just added into the chat, will get a download link immediately. And so you'll be able to start testing out Arc. I'll also share our YouTube channel in the chat so you guys can see some videos around Arc and how it works. I know there are some questions around like how to get started, what does it even do? And so you'll be able to get a sense for that there.
Awesome. Thank you both so much. I'm really excited for what's to come.
Awesome.
Okay. Now I mentioned we have one more very exciting surprise for you. It's both a surprise and a challenge. And to present it is the amazing Connor.
Hey everyone. Yeah, last second little prize. So if you go to, if any of you guys have watched the mobile launch video, you'll notice that there's a lot of different scenes and a lot of different characters. And one character that's hidden is actually Mark. So I'm gonna, actually I'm not gonna share my screen, but we've hidden Mark. If you guys don't know Mark, you can just go to replit.com/Mark and you'll find all the information you need about him. He's just like a smiley face character. And we've hidden him twice throughout the Replit mobile launch video. And so the first person to find any of the two spaces where we hit him and tweet at us with a screenshot will give you a free Replit mobile t-shirt from shop.replit.com. And so it's kind of fun. He's hidden in two spots. If no one can find him, we'll tweet out a hint later. But I think you guys will be able to find him if you just take a look.
If you are not familiar with Mark, Connor, how would you describe what he looks like?
Maybe like a pixelated smiley face that is like a little bit odd, honestly. It's a little bit off is probably the most accurate.
Yeah, I would describe him as charming, charismatic.
So true.
More than meets the eye. Yeah. Peep the video, see if you can find 2 instances of Mark. And again, tweet at us at Replit with a screenshot of the Easter egg and you can win a t-shirt from our shop. Thanks, Connor.
No problem.
right. So thank you all so much. Toss your questions in the chat and we'll get to them in the chat since we're running low on time. And also take a look at those feedback links. If there's anything that came to mind that you think we could do better, or if there's anything that you think we're doing really, really well, make sure to let us know. We love to hear all of it. Now, I am closing up here, but I have a couple of things I want to share with you. If you like going to events like these, or you want to keep learning how to code at different Replit events, learn about them with our community hub. And that's a place where you can find upcoming events. You can find other opportunities to become things like a Replit rep or an influencer, be part of our influencer program. And if you were sad that you didn't know about these features ahead of time, maybe you had your mind blown today and you want to keep updated on all of the upcoming features that we'll be working on, because there's always a lot, take a look at our changelog. You'll be able to see everything new, some descriptions and information on all of our new features there. So thank you to all of our wonderful presenters, and thank you to all of those of you who attended today and shared your wonderful energy in the chat or even outside of the chat. Thanks for being here. We will see you next month with even more exciting updates at our next town hall.